Ding, part 2. This beanbag is really, I mean, it's just noisy. So, do I look smart or is it just reflective? They're just blue light glasses. You guys are like 20 bucks on Amazon, but I just feel so, let's talk. Let's talk babysitting, you guys. I wish I had classical music playing. Oh, darn it, London took her Alexa out of here. Alexa, play Mozart. All right, like I said, with my spiffy homework folder, let's get down to business. Part 2 of things to know before you get your first babysitting job. Okay, so in the first video, we talked about your schedule, we talked about your safety, we talked about situations to have underhand before you get in, just a game plan of what you might do. We talked about the courses at the American Red Cross, and 5, we talked about starting with neighbors and friends. Now let's move on. Out of the top 10 things to know before you start babysitting, number 6, letting people know. Now, I know this might sound like starting with neighbors, families, and friends, but it's actually not. That is part of like the beginning of it, but letting people know is, again, what I said. It's a way to get in there, whether you're starting with your college career center, whether you're going to your church office, whether you're giving the director of a children's program your information, whether you're volunteering at summer camps. This is a huge one, you guys. I'm telling you, when parents see you interact with their children, if you're attentive, if you're aware, if you're kind, if you're empathetic, it's a huge win. I'm gonna be honest. So letting people know. Now, letting people know also goes into determining your rate. Now, this is super controversial. You guys, I wanna specify something. A mother's helper, a babysitter, and a nanny are 3 separate things. Your age plays into things, your experience plays into things. These all play into the rate. So when you start babysitting per child, and this is hypothetically, again, this also probably depends on your state, and it depends on the family. I babysat once, I babysat for a family where there were 3 families, there were 5 to 7 kids on a Wednesday night, and I got 50 bucks for 3 hours. That was legit. Now someone might say, for 5 to 7 kids, only 50 bucks. If I charged $10 per kid, that'd be $70 an hour. There's no one's ever gonna pay that. That's not gonna happen. So I loved that family, and that's what I did. So that's how that worked out for us. With us, like personally, I pay $15 to my babysitters because most of them are college students, and then I tip. I always tip. So that plays into it a lot as well. I have paid up to 18 to 19 before when I had a child, like she was like a master's degree professional nanny for an emergency situation. I needed someone, and I called my girlfriend who uses her all the time. Yes, I have paid upwards of that. But I usually settle it around 15 because I call a babysitter of it around 6 p.m. and my kids go to sleep around 7:30. So that's how it works for us. Again, I tip. Again, that depends on the person, depends on the state. When you're starting your rate per child, I do not think that $10 is a lot. I don't think that you should up that per kid. Do you know what I mean? $10 per child, if you're a babysitter, it can look a little different, especially if you have no experience. So going in 1 child, I might say 10. Going in 2 children, no experience, I might say 12. When you get up to 3 kids, I don't know anyone that charges less than 15. I do have some babysitters that are sweet, and they'll be like, I'll come over and hang out with the girls. If you call me first, I'll only charge like 13 or 14. But I always end up usually paying them 15 because I'll give them just a bigger tip. So determining your rate, it's gonna be off experience. It's gonna be off of also location, taking into account how far you're driving for the job. I did when I had a nanny for a few weeks back when I was working full time, I paid her gas as well. So it depends, age, experience. Are you a mother's helper? A mother's helper is just someone who comes over while their mother's there. It's gonna be a lower rate. A babysitter, how much experience, how many children, when are you coming over? Is it day, is it night? What's going on? And then you move into nannies, and that's a whole other subject. Like that's like you're putting in like a tax return if you're a nanny. So going into your rate, and talk with the parents about it. I used to like to go in and I would say, well, what do you usually pay babysitters? And they might say something like 9 or 10. And I'd say, well, I usually get paid about 12 or 13. I only actually ever made as a babysitter, I think $11 or $12 an hour. I think 11 for like 3 or 4 kids. So the rate, it changes with time. But a lot of parents might come in with that mindset of what they were paid, and that's not what it is now. So be okay to say, well, I usually get paid about 15, but since you said you're willing to pay 13, don't be afraid of that casual completely legitimate negotiation without it feeling like a negotiation. Talk it out with the parents. And do that before you get there. My biggest piece of advice, set your rate before you arrive. Do not go in blindly, let them know ahead of time. Let yourself figure it out ahead of time. 7, safety, staying in contact with people. So when you are babysitting and you arrive, you should be texting somebody. You should, when you arrive, let the parents know, hey, I promised my parents I'd check in an hour or two. If you don't have a good relationship with your parents and you don't want to tell them that, just say, oh, hey, I said I would check in about an hour or two, so I just have to text in about 2 hours. Text a friend if that's what you, just let someone know what's going on, and then make it clear to those parents, I let my parents know I would be home at XYZ. So if you're gonna be late, will you let me know? We'll get into parents that are habitually late later. I always say I'm gonna be way later. Like, I'll tell them I'm gonna be 12 o'clock, and then if I get home at 11:30, I still pay them, but I'm grateful that I came home early. I do not leave babysitters hanging. I just can't. So stay in contact with family and friends when you're babysitting, and this goes into interview. So if you're gonna be interviewing beforehand, which a lot of parents do, I like to have people come over. A great way to do this, we've talked about on TikTok before, is that free kind of like come to get to know you stage, where you are interacting with the kids, you're meeting the parents, and you're asking them questions. So here's some great questions that you guys might wanna write down, okay? First, do they have any allergies? When you're talking with this parent, do your children have any allergies I should be aware of? Okay. Behavioral issues. Now, you're not gonna say behavioral issues because a parent might get offended, but you might say, is there anything I should be aware of? Do your kids get upset easily? Do they tend to like not certain foods? You know, ask them, is there anything behaviorally you should be aware of? So you could say, is there anything with your kid's personality that you would need me to know? Do they respond well to this or that? That helps you find that out. What is their bedtime? And if the parent's like, oh, it's no big deal, say, okay, well, I just want to make sure, like, when it is time, I can let them know. Would you prefer them to be in bed when you get home? If they don't want to give a bedtime. This is a really one. Is there anything absolutely off limits? Kids, a lot of times, will be like, well, my mom or dad will let me, and then you don't know what to do, and you're deer in headlights, and you're like, what do I do? That's when I've had babysitters text me. I would always say text the parent. But if you're nervous about texting them, I would just tell the kid, oh, she didn't mention it to me, so maybe next time. And keep it like that. But any absolute off limits you should be aware of. Something I should know that your kid's not allowed to have, not allowed to watch, you don't want them doing, get that off the what are some numbers in case of an emergency? So if they're leaving, do you have a doctor's number? Do you have the neighbor's number or the sister-in-law's number or their numbers? Do you have both their cell phone numbers? Who are you calling? Which of the partners are you calling? Mom, dad, who is it gonna be? Mom, dad, whatever, but who are you calling? Insurance cards. I always leave an insurance card for my babysitters. If something happens, I need them to have that information. If the paramedics need to be called, if something's going on. So asking them if they could leave a copy of your insurance card, or if they're uncomfortable with it, can they screenshot you one, or just something like that. So if they're worried about taking out the card, they have it. Okay, so that's like 7, covering safety on all fronts, and then going into like 7.5, which is safety at when you're getting there and safety in the interview. And those are awesome questions to ask. If you're asking a parent that, they're gonna feel very secure that you are concerned with what's going on. 8 is activities. What do you do with the kids? You guys, we're gonna do a whole thing on activities. A lot of you asked, do you need to bring stuff? I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think you need to bring things to the house. Is it fun to bring something from the dollar section of Target or the $3 section of Target? Yeah, that's exciting. But most of the time you're gonna go to a house and parents will likely have some form of children's toys, children's games, children's movies, and have some planned out. Let the parent know, hey, I was thinking of playing games later tonight. Do you think the kids will like that? Or, hey, I was thinking of watching a movie later tonight. Or, hey, I want to take the kids on a walk. I wanted to paint their nails. I thought, da-da-da-da. So are those activities okay with you? That way the parent can say, like, absolutely no off limits, or they can say, no, I love this. This is so fun. Yay. Ooh, this is great. Number 9, be on time. This goes for parents and babysitters, but y'all, there's nothing like being prompt. I always used to arrive 5 minutes early. I didn't do earlier than 5 minutes because I didn't want to catch them while they were getting ready, right? I didn't want to interrupt the parents. So I would be like, oh, I might arrive about 5 minutes early just in case of traffic. And then if I got there too early, I'd just sit in my car and play on, what was it at the time? I'd play on like, I think it was Facebook in college. I'd do stuff on Facebook. It was very, very intense. But that's really great, being on time. And then 10, put your phone away. When it comes to your phone, I don't care if after my kids are in bed, the babysitter spends the entire time on her phone. Could care less. But I really want you, I really want you. I really wanted the kids to get played with. So unless you're texting the parents or you're sending them a video or something like that, don't be on your phone. Keep it in your pocket, that's fine. I might text the babysitter to check in, and if they don't text me back, I do get nervous. So keeping it on vibrate, maybe not ring, is really, really important. And then, you know, kind of going in with putting the phone away, good things to have, picking up. And I'm not saying, again, not saying be a maid. Someone said, like, you don't pay people to clean your house. Y'all, I don't. I can pay someone to come and clean my home. But I have this wand, I just love it. I feel magical with it. I'm your magical babysitting fairy. Anyways, moving on. Have the kids pick up, play the cleanup song, do whatever you need to, but leaving that house how you found it. Or maybe a little bit better, it's up to you. I used to pick up and make it extra fabulous because I wanted to get called back, and I always did because of it. I liked doing that kind of stuff, you know? So again, covering our top 10 things to know going into babysitting: your schedule, your safety, this is important, things to know about children's safety and how to react in certain situations before you start babysitting, the courses on the American Red Cross. Again, I'm not telling you have to pay for courses, I'm saying they're beneficial. 5, starting with family, friends, and neighbors to kind of familiarize yourself, could get yourself that experience, okay? That's why you're doing that. Then you can say, oh, I chaperoned my niece's, nephew's, whatever birthday. Oh, I was a lifeguard at this one party. It gives you a little bit of background, right? If you've done that, excuse me. And then, losing my voice talking, hold on. And then next, letting people know. We covered how you can do that. 7, safety when you arrive and safety in an interview, along with those questions I told you to ask. You guys, those are golden questions. If you're asking those questions, the parents are gonna be like, oh, this person is so prepared. And then of course, activities, like, again, just sharing with the parents what you think you're gonna do, having an idea of what you might wanna do, even if it's just hide and seek, or duck, duck, goose, or duck, duck, gray goose, whatever it is. People are correcting me all the time. Be on time, put your phone away, and help pick up. So those are kind of top things before you get into babysitting. What should be the next topic? What should the next video cover? What is the main thing you want me to cover? We talked about your rates and how to figure those out, so we're not gonna spend a lot of time on that. What do you guys wanna hear next? Is there a specific question, behavioral things? Put it in the comments, and be sure to subscribe so we can keep doing this, y'all. This channel is dedicating to all of you because you inspired me to do it, and I love each and every one of you, and I'm so grateful for you. And the fact that we have a community of people on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube, just, it blows my mind with gratefulness. I am so thrilled to be here. I am so thrilled to get to talk with you, and I really hope these videos are great. And I'm sorry for the low quality, but it's high quality people, right? Low quality video quality. But you guys ready? So be sure to click subscribe and save, and give me drop your comments below. And that is the end. Here's our transition. I gotta get out the speed bag. Here's our transition, and we out.